All right, so today I'm going to show you how to add value to a sphere to create form using shading techniques and dark, medium, and light, or shade, midtones, and tint. So in your book, we are going to draw and shade using value to create a circle into a three-dimensional illusion of form. So you are going to start off with a circle, which you should have already drawn. You'll notice I draw very, very light and I'm sketching. Once you have your circle drawn, we need to determine where the light source is. So if our light source is coming from this top left corner, that means my highlight is going to be in the top left area, and my shadow is going to be in the bottom right area. If my light source is over here, my highlight would be on the same side and my shadow would be on the opposite side. Now that we have everything blocked in, we're going to start applying value. The first thing I want you to do is start a line, a curved line from the halfway point, and you're just going to draw in a crescent shape that follows the edge of your sphere or circle shape. The reason why I drew in a crescent shape is because the shape or form of a sphere curves. So we want to reimagine that in our illusion. Because this is on the opposite side of our light source, we are going to color and shade that in as dark as we can. This is going to be our darkest dark value. You'll notice that my hand gets closer to the lead when I want to apply more pressure. That helps me create a darker value. Now that we have our shadow complete, we want to make sure that it is nice, solid, and smooth and does not look scribbly. Now we are going to draw in a second crescent. We're going to start a little bit higher up and we're going to draw in another curved line, creating a crescent moon shape. This is going to be our midtone or medium value. Instead of pressing as hard as I can, I'm going to move my hand back on my pencil so I can apply less, more gentle pressure. And I'm going to layer this pressure 2 to 3 times to get it the correct value. We want this midtone to be lighter than our shadow, but darker than our tints. Again, we want to make sure that this section is smooth and not scribbly. I'm going to apply a little bit of a darker layer around the edge, outside edge, to help those two values merge and blend together. All right. Now we have our last section that we're going to make our tint. So we're going to barely touch the paper. I'm going to back my hand all the way near the eraser, and I'm going to apply the lightest layer that I've ever applied in my life to the surface of my paper. You want to make sure that this layer is smooth and not scribbly. We do not want to see a bunch of lines in this value. And that is how you apply value to a spherical shape. The only issue is that now we have these weird sections that don't really smoothly transition to one another. So we're going to use our finger, or you can use a tissue. If you have a blending stump on hand, you could use that. But for now, we are going to use a tissue to blend. And you're just going to very gently rub over the values to smooth out any scribble lines. Be careful you do not smudge over the highlight, because we do not want the highlight to turn gray. We want that highlight to be as white as the paper because it's our lightest light. And now our sphere is smooth and the values transition more gently. You can always add more layers if you find that certain values are not connecting properly, to just fix and adjust. An artist is always fixing and adjusting. If you accidentally smudged and smeared over your highlight, you can take an eraser and gently erase the highlight again to make it nice and bright. Now that we have finished our sphere, we need to add a cast shadow. A cast shadow is the dark value that an object casts when you apply light to it. And remember, if the highlight is on the same side as the light source, the shadow is on the opposite side of the light source. A sphere does not have a base. It just ends up stopping and gently sitting on a very, very, very flat point on the curve of the sphere. So we are going to create an oval shape to make our shadow. This is called grounding an object. When you ground an object, it makes it look like it's sitting on a surface or a table or on the floor. And then we're just going to shade the shadow in. Typically, shadows are pretty dark, but the further away the shadow gets from the object, the lighter and lighter it is. So I always like to go dark next to the object and lighter far away. And then sometimes I even smudge the end to make it disappear more clean. And then I always clean up with a eraser just to make sure that the paper isn't all yucky and smudgy. And that is how you create value on a sphere.